that,
snack.
I don't wanna
He needs
make them like.
cookies,
go
eggs,
to your apartment.
water.
How long is it?
Leftover from a retirement.
Get my whole name in that way.
Whereas I always group had first load in the first three because I just went by Joe's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think we did. I know that all.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay, right. Go ahead and call the meeting. Plan business of the pledge. And I'll go ahead and lead the pledge. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you. Oh, gotcha.
Right.
You made it. Good. No Baylor mishaps?
Yeah, the moment I pulled in, we were an artist quick.
Oh,
day with them, I was driving.
All right. Approval of consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. as
One
written.
question. Okay. What was the deal? Why were we approving the minutes from December 9th?
Oh, right.
because it was an oversight.
Oh, okay, we're just taking care of a technicality.
Yep.
House clean. Sure, okay, just wanna make sure. Yep.
That's what I figured.
Didn't know if there were some changes that somehow got put in. Oh. I so moved in.
I think.
Already
Yeah, there's
approved.
no-
I move.
Okay, I'll second.
Move, you second,
I'll second.
all those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Request for agenda modifications.
I have one more policy in the, we'll put them in the second reading policies, but, it has to do with, graduating early. And we can either add it in or I can bring it back, later in the fall.
And we just added in,
Okay.
what's the
It is
Letters.
IKFA.
AKFA? Graduation, early graduation.
Yep.
Okay. Sit for that, public comment. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Christopher, you're first.
Okay,
City business, are you at the right meeting?
I will see. I just wanted to say hi, since I missed your last meeting. I'm Christopher, I'm the mayor. I first of all wanted to thank, Director Daly and Director Wells for their many years of service to, our district and specifically the board. I know Chair Wells, this is his 20th year, I think he said, on the school board, which is crazy as a 26-year-old.
Where do you think all the white hair comes from?
So, I just wanted to say thank you to you both for, playing such a big role in my life and in the lives of so many students in Philomath. You'll be missed, but I hope you enjoy not having to be here anymore. And then I also just wanted to say on the city side of things that, we adopted our strategic plan a few meetings ago, and we're trying to do things a little differently with our strategic planning. Where we still have our big, huge, 40-page document of our strategic plan. But each year we are highlighting sort of a few specific actions that we're committing to the community that we're going to try to take within that fiscal year. And so we released that's on the city website. And really trying to kind of spread those equally across our city departments and across the themes of our strategic plan, and then try to have a good mix of kind of, good governance and housekeeping issues, as well as some really tangible sort of community facing things that will, make an impact on livability in Philomath. So I think a few of them that people have been excited about are trying to do additional bike and pedestrian connectivity in town. And I'm going to be talking a little more with the superintendent on that later around some specific projects around the schools. We hear a lot of complaints about speeding in town, so one of our strategic plan priorities is to add some of those radar feedback speed signs at the entrance to town, as well as do some additional training and support for our police department. And then we have plenty of other priorities around public art and some financial policies. And then continuing our water treatment plant, actually getting that done. And there's probably about 8 others on there that I'll direct you to, but just wanted to say that we encourage you to check that out. And then the big one too that was on there is launching sort of our community visioning process and getting that ball rolling. And that's something that we'll really want to partner with the school district and the fire district and other local groups on to sort of help figure out a vision for our collective community, not just the city, not just the schools, not just nonprofits, but sort of the Philomath community. Where are we going and how can we all kind of row the boat in the same direction? And what are some of those big projects that we want to see as a town in the next, 20, 25 years? What we want to look like. So, just to say, you'll be seeing even more of me. So, woo. But I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
When is the community visioning process kicking off?
We don't have a set time yet. We just put it in for this fiscal year. So, well, the upcoming fiscal year. So we'll be trying to pull people together about that, as soon as we get a few of our own ducks in a row. So, yeah,
They might not only wanna look at the speed things coming into town,
yeah,
but the 2 drag strips leaving town.
yes, that has come up as well. I got a good earful about that the other day.
Yeah, well, if you sit there long enough, you gotta sit there very long.
No, yeah.
It's a drag strip.
Yes,
On
yes.
both ends of town.
I know, I feel like people think once they see 40 miles an hour, that means that where they are, that means 40 miles. an hour.
Right.
No, that means at the sign.
Yeah,
Yes.
so. I
And
just-
that 4 kind of looks like a 5 sometimes.
Yeah, you're gonna make it six.
No, subjective, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've also noticed some speeding just on this road as well. Like, I think it was a couple months ago, I almost got hit in that crosswalk. Yeah. It wasn't like after school, it was like 6. So I just want to point that out as well. There's
Yeah.
something happening
I'm
there.
sorry about that.
All good.
I guess the other thing I should have mentioned that was really exciting was we did our If I Were Mayor contest this year, and that was a
Oh, yeah.
great success. We had our celebration for the winners. We had Sylvie Schroeder from Philomath Elementary School and Tessa King from Philomath Middle School. And they got a celebration at City Hall. Sergeant Thurman picked them in a police car and dropped them to City Hall, and then we had a lunch and talked about their ideas for town. And then they got a fire truck ride back to school. So my gratitude to the administrators and teachers and students that were a part of making that happen, and we're gonna try to keep it going even bigger and better next year, so keep an eye out for that, but that was definitely a highlight.
Kids will pretty through.
Good,
So,
that's our goal. Yeah, thank you so much.
thank you. Anything
Thank
else?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the next one is Tom and board member recognition, but let me jump right in here in front of you. Aaron McMullen and Tom Clipville are the 2 new elected board members that are here tonight. Aaron is re-elected, so. Yeah, the 3 board members that won the election.
Thank
That's
you.
yours.
Very quickly, like Christopher, I first want to recognize Joe, thank you for your willingness to serve for 4 years on the school board. But most notably Rick, for, as Christopher said, 20 years, over a 22-year span, 20 years. I can't help think that 20 years, like it's serving like a 10 to 20 prison sentence. Anyway, I don't need to tell anyone in this room how demanding the role is, how stressful it can be, but of course, how vital and crucial it is to our community and to the school district. And Rick has, been through the thick and thin. He and I have been through many thick and thin things together. And I have the deepest respect for what you've done here, Rick. You and I were usually on the same side of the issue most of the time, not every time, but the vast majority. And I have tremendous respect for what you brought to the district, the board, even the chair position a few times. So just thank you very much. And hopefully we'll still see you around.
Thank you, appreciate it. Very nice. Okay, that's all the public comment. We'll go to student government report. You have anything?
I'm not a part of ASB, that's Reagan.
Okay,
Sorry. I think it's going well. The seniors are out of here, so.
Reagan's retired, so there's no.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
We had a talent show. That was pretty cool. Woo.
And the last day of school is tomorrow,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and the junior takeover is tonight.
Is there any COVID going to the school? Because last year my kids came home with COVID on the last day of school. I'll be good for tomorrow.
Oh, I hope not.
Come home.
And maybe I better wear my mask tomorrow.
Like go in a full hazmat suit, like.
Pretty much.
And just what you don't need to start the summer.
Ran down the light all before they walked.
okay, well, hearing nothing else, at this time, we're gonna close the regular session. And we will open the budget hearing for discussion.
I've received no comments before the meeting on the
Okay,
budget, so we'll present it as proposed to the budget committee. That was approved by the budget committee.
okay. Do you have anything, Susan?
No, just to be able to say that, you know, we knew we would be close. We went to the 11.36 billion consideration to get spending authority. We now know, like Jennifer had said earlier, that 11.36 has been passed in the state school fund budget, and so we know that's there. And so the feeling of being able to move forward with approval of the budget has a little bit more of a level of certainty than we may have anticipated even 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Okay,
Now we just have to wonder about the ancillary student investment account, Measure 98. The federal Every Student Succeeds Act funds. Federal funds aren't huge for us, but there is some swing in that, so.
We have gotten a few allocations confirmed, estimates from the federal government that flows through the ODE, and we've budgeted very close for Title I.
Yep.
From what we got as an allocation, and the Title IV allocation's very small, so it's pretty immaterial, but it's about the same as what we budgeted, so.
okay. Well, you've already been on top of most things, so that's nice.
I tried.
that it's going that way. Okay, is there any board discussions on the budget?
I just wanted to raise one thing that we all need to keep in mind, and that is that there are some inspections happening on the pool. And that might have an effect on the budget, depending on what we find out. So I just wanted to raise that as a point of awareness and something that we should be monitoring moving into the next budget year.
So hopefully that's why we have that ending fund balance. If we have to put money into that, there'll be money to put into it. But if it's a lot of money, we might be having a different discussion.
Absolutely.
Also, that's the mayor from the pool.
Yeah.
It's been done. We have. We were talking about that just. now.
Okay, is there any public comments? Hearing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing. And we're gonna reopen the regular session. And we on to number 8, which is the 25-26 budget actions. Resolution 24-25-05, resolution to adopt the budget and make appropriations. Do I hear a motion?
I so move. I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Number 2, the resolution 24-25-06, the resolution imposing and categorizing the tax.
I move that we adopt resolution 24-25-06.
Okay,
I'll second that.
been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we can have school next year.
Yay!
Association reports, PEA.
And then.
Yeah, we gotta come up here.
So, big friends with us.
Hi.
So we don't have to tell you that Nicole would never come up to the table.
It's like never there.
After they're already up here, that's okay.
I know.
See, now you started the trend, so.
Yeah, I've spoken at a board meeting, not at the table, so I guess that's your routine. So we are your new PEA co-president.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, it's Mallory Crane. We're both at Clemens. Yes, and we are super excited to dive in. We are both, next year will be our 8th year in the district, and we you know, there's not been a lot of Clemens presidents, but we're really excited to step into the role. And we are excited to work with the district to help support the members, ultimately the students and families. And Melissa has a little, I have a little word too. So PEA is currently in negotiations with the district, and that has been going well so far. We're hoping for a quick and mutually beneficial agreement with the district. Concerns over safety protocols and procedures are still high on the minds. So PEA is hoping to have some concrete answers about protocol and procedure being established by the beginning of next school year, as well as regular safety meetings starting at the beginning of next school year focused on student and staff safety. And that would be separate from the facility safety team.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for stepping up, ladies.
Appreciate it.
YCA, I see nobody, they're not here. School stuff.
School coming tomorrow, nobody's coming.
Nurses annual report.
And that was just, you had in your packet, they put together, Nurse Laura and Nurse Tina put together information about how they spend their time. And they're definitely very busy people.
Very good.
And really looking out for students and staff from a health and safety perspective. They're very cognizant of the laws, of health plans for students, of really being available. Nurse Laura went on a field trip earlier this week with some students from Philomath Elementary School. And I don't know that she's been on a field trip in a very long time, but it's just, you know, their willingness to step up and kind of do whatever we need to have done to be able to make sure things are looked out for and that students get the opportunities they need. So
Remind me, what does FERPA stand for?
Family Education Rights and Privacy Act.
Okay, sort of like HIPAA, but different.
Educational events, that's what I always think of.
Yeah,
Okay. Superintendent's report.
yeah, and this has been computer glitch night, so you'll hear more from me than you will see, just simply because of the
Tech issues.
tech issues. Come on, baby. Oh, there it is.
I want to just state for the record, it's the computers that are being combative. It's not operator error, it is mean old computer.
I brought my laptop, the charger, I believe, is on my dining room table at home. So Jennifer found a Chromebook for me. The Chromebook opens everything in kind of this wing-ding mess. And so we would all have fun trying to read it, and it just makes it kind of exciting. So that will teach me to leave the charger on my dining room table.
That's
So
brilliant.
I started out with just some of I called them walking wishes and worthy welcomes. And it was really, we had for people who were here this afternoon and had the opportunity to be able to witness and give thanks to Dave Dunham and Chad Matthews for their years of service in the district. And to be able to do a retirement celebration. We have had conversations in the district office team and as our administrators of saying, we've kind of gotten away from really being able to take a look at the opportunities to be able to celebrate And so this was kind of a first launch in a long time, to be able to come back to looking at, just a retirement reception, for people. Also knowing that schools may do something of their own ilk, bigger, or different, which is absolutely okay. But it's an opportunity for people to be able to drop in and out. And we're really, excited about that. We have some other folks who are leaving us, that we wanted to acknowledge and wish them well in their future. Derek Bright, a social studies teacher at Philomath Middle School. Tina Chambers, an instructional assistant at Philomath Middle School. We mentioned Dave. Linda Jamail, a special education teacher primarily at Clemens Primary School. Eleanor Jones, who has been a fifth grade teacher, at Philomath Elementary. Caitlin Junkman, an instructional assistant at Clemens Primary. Kiki Clipfeld, library media assistant at Philomath High School. Jolene Latz, library media assistant at Philomath High School. Chad Matthews, we mentioned as the assistant principal and teacher from Philomath Middle School. And Lucas Olson, an instructional assistant, at Clemens Primary. And so, we wish them all very well, in whatever their next steps, in the school business or not, where it takes them. Also, which has already been done, to be able to, say thank you to our new board members, to, excuse me, Aaron and Tom and Aaron, for being
That's
with
not to
us.
be confusing at all.
To be able to, take on, we know it's a big responsibility and appreciate the willingness to step up and play. The other thing we also want to do is take the opportunity to really give some heartfelt thanks to our outgoing members. As has been said, their service over the years has been really appreciated. It takes a heart for students to do this work, and it means everything for a school district, and it's meant everything to me. So we have some little tokens of our appreciation to be able to share with both Joe and Rick, to be able to thank them for their
Is it taco?
long time service to the school board.
Look at it.
Yep.
I'm going to.
Rick says, I wait for you.
It's a box. Wow, that's beautiful. Maybe it's spelled my name.
Show it off to Brad so we can get a
You'd be
good
amazed
picture.
how often they don't. It's not a common thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just so you know, the fronts of them have the logo and it says to honor your service to education. Thank you for your dedication to our students and staff. Presented to, in this case, Rick Wells. Thank you for 20 years of service in the, to the Philomath School District Board of Directors. And so, please join me in giving them great thanks to all of them.
Thank you, thank you.
We're getting down to the end of the school year. And, we had Philomath High School's graduation was Saturday.
Yep.
Philomath Academy's graduation was last night. Kings Valley Charter School's graduation is this Saturday. Our last day for students at Kings Valley was today. The last day for students in the Philomath School District schools is tomorrow for students. And so it's all wrapping up really, really, really fast. We have some summer learning things, lined out in that we'll have high school credit recovery that will start next week. And will run, through the end of June to be able to assist high schoolers with credit recovery. Excuse me, just in those last couple of weeks. We'll take July and not have much formally happening. With the exception of all summer, there will be meals available at Clemens Primary School. So that will continue to be able to, through the whole summer, have students to be able, to have the opportunity to get fed, which is a really nice thing. We will have both extended school year, which is for some of our special education students with particular needs, and a lit camp for our incoming kindergarten through third grade students that will start August 4th and will run for 3 weeks, Monday through Thursday in the morning. And so, it'll be a pretty full August before we get going with staff in service and everything else there. So we're looking forward to those, opportunities, staff already being hired to be able to, take care of business there. And it would be nothing without, moving forward with a start of the year. In that this year, we're starting early with our staff in service. So Monday, August 25th is our new staff in service. Tuesday, August 26th is a district-wide in service for both our licensed and classified staff. We'll start with an all-district breakfast and, some professional learning. In the afternoon will be school staff meetings, school-specific and professional learning. Wednesday, August 27th, will be also for licensed and classified, with the morning being in schools. Lunchtime, if the board so decides to do so, again, we will barbecue.
What date is that?
Ask that, Rick and Jill kind of done that.
That might be reason to get them to come back.
Well, and I would, didn't know if they or, I can't cook, so I was thinking, I can't do it. I didn't know how the new board members are. I mean, sure, we can get the barbecue.
Any grill masters?
I would be willing to help again if it doesn't conflict with my wife's schedule. I don't know about you, Ray.
I'll be willing to help.
Sure.
Sounds like they're doing it.
You can train us?
Yeah, totally.
I just wear old glasses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
What was that date? Sorry.
August
Oh,
27th
this
is Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, and when Joe says wear old glasses, he's not joking. He melted a pair of glasses last year,
No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yes,
Because
There might have been a
the-
few too many briquettes on the market.
That thing gets,
No, I was just standing too close.
Then the afternoon of that Wednesday and all day on the Thursday are dedicated to classroom preparation for our licensed staff. And then, September 2nd, Tuesday after Labor Day, we will do slow start. And we'll start with all students on Wednesday, September 3rd. Clements Primary is a little anomaly because they'll do, September 2nd and 3rd with individual appointments for students to do assessment. And then on the Thursday of that week, they'll have half the students, their last names of, what is it, A through K, for half a day on the Thursday, and then the rest of the alphabet for half a day on Friday. And then the following week, they'll all come in. So they have kind of a different staggered start to get started with. So that's kind of all I've got in terms of the thinking finish and the think into how to start. So questions?
I don't have any questions, and this might be something that I should hold for the end, but I just wanted to thank all of those retirees and those leaving the district. Some of those names make me very, very sad to hear. But the ones that are retirements, I'm super happy for them or whatever. But, yeah, it was just a little, as I called myself earlier, soft and squishy moment.
Yep, a little nostalgia.
From me, yeah.
Yeah, we're losing some good people.
That's your.
That's,
All right.
I'm good.
Jennifer, you're up.
Thank you for approving the resolutions, adopting the budget, imposing the taxes. Now we'll print the budget books and get everything squared away so we can start the new year off right. You also have a resolution in the board packet tonight for just a general fund transfer of appropriations. Just the way the expenditures worked out for the year, we just had to move the appropriations to better show the expenditures. No new money, it's just moving them. And I put in there a notice about that we got from the Benton County about state forest funding. That is money that we get from state forest harvest within our county. And so it's allocated, it's within our district. State forest lands are harvested inside the county in our district. We get a portion of the revenue from those harvests. And this funding was from 23-24. The county realized they were still holding those funds. So we finally got it last week. So that is considered local revenue for our state school funding. So for the 24-25 state school fund estimate, when they do the May reconciliation next May, we'll have an offset because of that local revenue. It will come off of our state school fund. So that adjustment that we see next May We will probably have a negative adjustment for the final reconciliation for this year, 1 year from now, because of that revenue we're getting. So I'm trying to learn a little bit more about how to predict the state forest revenue, but even talking to ODE, they said it's unpredictable, just because it's based on where the timber sales are.
Yeah.
And the time frame. So. Other than that, we're closing out the year, sliding into June 30th, trying to get everything booked that we need to do, close out grants. And get ready for the next year.
So it shows we're 48 students below last year, so for next year, we'll get funded at last.
We will get funded at the higher of this year or next year's.
Oh, okay, this
Yeah.
year or next year.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
So
just
it'll be
this,
16, 12, or whatever the enrollment is for next year.
right. Well, the ADMW based on the extra weights for
Yeah.
sped and all of that, but yes, yeah, it'll most likely be the enrollment of this year unless we have an increase.
Okay.
I estimated at a bit of a decrease. Just based on what everything, birth rates and population around the state, but we could
Okay.
be surprised again. But we won't have less, you know, for state school fund calculations, it won't go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've also been watching for, as I get, there's been requests coming through for, attendance at different online charters. But when I look at them, the students that are requesting to go in that direction, almost to a person of what I've approved this year, have either been kids who have been homeschooled for their whole career, or have been in another, online charter situation somewhere. And so they've never really been with us, in terms of making those approvals, because what I'm trying to watch for is, are we gonna lose a bunch of people of our own population to, those kinds of school programs? And as of now, we're not. So that's a good feeling.
And ever since we put in the caps on your district transfers, there hasn't been anybody. That, none of those caps have been touched. There hasn't been any people turned away, correct?
We've got a couple that will be on a wait list right now, but typically by the time all is said and done, up till this point, we've not had to turn people away. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 2 outstanding hinders. We're waiting.
Okay. On to strategy and discussion, student representative to the board update. We have policy here that.
Yeah, BCBA and BCBA AR. And the AR I worked on, when we started this, we had the determination that the board would be involved in the interviewing, and the board would get the applications and all those kinds of things. And in the last 2 years, it's really been the high school that's made that determination. And so it really begs the question of, do we want a board member or two on the committee that does the review? But the applications themselves go to the principals at the schools to which students are enrolled. And in this case, we want high schoolers. So I wanted to also include the Philomath Academy. So we've got Philomath High School and the Philomath Academy. That the proposal would be that their applications go to the principals of their school. And then the principal at Philomath High School, with representation from Philomath Academy, and a committee of no less than 5, which we had talked about in the original policy, makes a determination about the who or the who's are a part of that. So what it really does is kind of takes a look at, do we want to make the shift for the onus on, more of the onus on the schools, but continue to have the board involved in the acceptance of applications or excuse me, the review of applications. The other thing in the last couple of years, when you and Levi ended up on the board, it was kind of a slam dunk crash course in the spring.
Yeah.
To be able to do the interviews and to be able to make that work. This year, we were so tight on timelines, and in my conversation with you and with Levi, it was like, we're not gonna get the interest right now. People are too busy doing end of year things. And so do we want to just wait in this instance to the fall? To be able to make the determination whether we can generate interest when people are ready to hear that and not doing 16 other things. We can either keep that consistently to where we make a selection in a fall, or we can consciously go back and make sure we have applications moving forward in a timely way in the spring. To be able to make that determination so that we can have somebody or somebody's ready, to be able to start the fall. And so it was really just wanting to put out some options and some considerations that look at aligning the process to really more of what's happening, but then also to make the determination about what do we believe is in our best interest. I put a lot of the information in here to be able to move it to a fall. By the time you get a fall person selected, they're not going to attend a board meeting until October. And so I am kind of the ilk, if we can back it up again after this year and be able to do it in the spring. And maybe line it up better with the ASB elections.
Yes.
That might be a better push. And I think that would be good, but I wanted to put it forward to the board because this was one of the board, including Mr. McMorrin, one of the big pieces of wanting to be able to have representation. And so I just want to make sure it's a reflection of what's happening and what we want, and where we go from here.
Yeah, I agree, it should either be earlier in the spring or
Okay.
the fall, like you say right now, nobody's thinking about it.
Yeah,
We just missed the ASB window, and with a new ASB teacher, leader, representative, there were a lot of things to be able to jump on top of. And so to remember, or to even know I have school board stuff that I need to put on that, just got lost in translation. And so I think if we catch up this year, it was really saying what makes the most sense. So, and I don't know, you and Levi kind of said,
I think I kind of said the fall, but honestly, I feel like they're both. I feel like I can see the pros and cons of kind of doing both. I would say this, like doing it earlier might be really good because like incoming freshmen might hear that. And I know I was talking to like a couple freshmen already this year and they were like, oh, I'd love to do that. So just kind of getting that interest up, even if I don't think they can do it their freshman year.
No.
Right, but just having that interest of knowing that they're going to do it later is
Yeah.
probably really good. I can also see though, if you do it too early, people might not they'll not forget, but because their summer might get really busy, they might just not be getting all the information just because I know per se, I'm not logged into I'm logged in, but I'm not really checking my school email account.
good for you.
It's the summer, you know?
Right.
I don't normally check it until like maybe a couple weeks before school starts. So I know that might be maybe a bit of an issue, but there's maybe a way that you're like, hey, I'm gonna send blah, 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 and make it kind of clear.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I can very much see like the good and the bad, both of them.
Well, the other thing we could do is watch, because we know we have to do it this fall.
Right.
We know that's our only option, and so maybe we see how it goes with a fall versus a springtime, and kind of see where we want to go based on what happens.
That'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah, because definitely missing like the first couple board meetings, like I don't, because I wasn't there, I don't really know how those work, but I'm assuming it's kind of like amping up. So kind of like October was great, but I did kind of feel like I was kind of thrown into it and it was all of a sudden like. So yeah, I would say earlier is probably better.
and then for process, I thought that we had determined, and it might be that we didn't update the policy to reflect this, that the members were voted on by the student body and not an interview committee, because if it was an interview committee this last year, we weren't invited to participate.
And I think that was, yeah, I agree, and I think what happened last year was, it was kind of a do or die, we gotta do this before the end of the year, and everybody kind of forgot it, and so let's jam it together and throw somebody in. And so really, it's looking at the update of how do we want it to be, and what do we want the inclusion to be, and then going from there.
I really like the idea of the student body being a part of it, but I'm gonna just say that is instantly going to become a popularity contest. Like there are already people at our school that will just do those things just to see if they can get the most votes, and then they don't actually want to do it, or they don't actually go through with it. I'm not gonna say everyone, you know, but I've definitely seen some people have been like, oh, I'm gonna run for this, and then they're all like, oh wait, I don't actually really want to do this, or they're like, that is going to become a very popularity contest. Like maybe doing like a mix of both would be good, but yeah. That's my only input on that.
No, that's very valuable, thank you.
Yeah, I was on student council in high school, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that you were really popular?
No, actually.
That's my takeaway.
I wasn't an
I was also on student government in high school.
athlete-centric school.
Yeah, I think, one thing we might wanna do then is just, and I did read through, but whether it's sunk in or not, I can't verify. Make sure that we tighten our policy and AR with them to make sure that it is, like you said, reflecting
I
what we
agree.
want it to
Yep,
be. So
yep.
I think it might be something, we hold for our summer work session with the new board members. Since we're not gonna be able to do it in the fall anyway, we add that to our summer work session, so we can make sure that we're hearing more voices. And maybe we'll ask you to send us an email with your thoughts or.
Of course.
Um,
We'll ask you to check it at least once.
Yeah. Just if
We'll
you
call you
got it
first.
tomorrow. Yeah, just to make sure that we're being inclusive of the academy as well as the high school. Academy would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and opening it up to people who might not otherwise feel comfortable putting themselves out there.
Yes. So this was just kind of a, let's get it out there and get a look, and with no intent of being able to approve it tonight, but just to be able to get it on the radar. So that we don't slide and lose the intent of what we want.
So we'll bring this back in July or August?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, summer school update.
And I really already did that in my, in my superintendent's report. But we'll have the credit recovery in these last couple of weeks. We're already, getting incredible registration for Lit Camp. That's coming in, and we're watching for the class sizes and things like that, so, right now, we gave the approval to hire a fifth teacher. As opposed to four, because there would be a kinder first, second, and third, and because of the numbers, we added a fifth, and we were able to do that because we have instructional materials from last year that weren't used. And so without having to spend that, it gave us a little bit of a buffer to be able to look at having another adult present. So looking forward to that.
That's wonderful. I had a quick question. So I read an article talking about the summer school funding at the state level, and that at least 75 schools had turned down the funding because it was too late in their planning process to implement.
Yes.
And I know we were very far down on that list,
Yep.
but I was kind of curious, like.
We
have
never
we
got
gotten
we never got the
close?
heads up that we were
Okay.
eligible.
Okay,
And
I was kind of hoping, but I know we were like 160 something or.
well, and we knew also that there are additional criteria for accepting that summer money. So to be able to do a program for 3 weeks wouldn't have been enough.
Okay.
And so, I mean, granted, you get more money to be able to do it, but then you're looking at, do people really want to work in July? And there was a possibility of partnering with LC, who is going to be facility-less. Because they got some summer money, but we just couldn't sustain it in July. In the way that we needed to do it at this point. So as we get summer money and it opens up, we'll have to look at things a little bit differently and make a determination of, do we want to do a longer day? To be able to make that 3 weeks work, or what do we want to do? So.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
No. Okay, moving on, July and August meeting dates. Since we have the two new board members, we'll involve you in this discussion and see what works for you. July 1st is a Tuesday. Usually works best to get the July meeting as early as possible to elect the officers and all the signatures and everything that need to be done, so, I don't know. I'll just throw this out there, July 1st, Tuesday, would that be a possibility?
It is a holiday week, so we understand if it's not.
Yeah, but taking this young man and 13 other young boys to summer camp that week, so.
Okay.
I prefer not to.
Okay, well, that moves us to the week of the 7th. And a scheduled board meeting would be the 10th, second Thursday. So would you guys like to wait till the 10th or try to do it a little earlier that week?
Are you available on the 10th, Tom?
Yes, I accept That's the frolic week, so
That's
a
true.
Big deal for us.
That's
Okay.
true.
So, but we could, Monday, that week would be great, and then we get us sworn in.
July 7th.
This July 7th. Will that work for you, Aaron?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron,
We're talking
Sam,
Aaron,
Ryan?
in the evening.
Okay,
Yeah.
7 o'clock,
Yeah, that's
okay,
here.
and then you guys can elect officers and set the dates if you wanna have the meetings for the year and whatnot, so. I'll just throw out there, I've been a part of meetings on Mondays. That's not a good way to start the week. Thursdays seem to work pretty good because there's not a lot of conflicts. Mondays, you have holidays in there sometimes that
all the time.
conflict with a board meeting, so we found that Thursdays, the second Thursday seems to work pretty good. So,
Or third Thursday, depending on the year.
yeah. So anyhow, I'll just throw that out there and you guys can do with it whatever you want. Neither will you.
As I said, we won't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll give an update on the PEA negotiations.
And I think that, Alice and Mallory kind of led into, we feel like we've got a lot knocked out at this last session. We ended up with 8 additional, tentative approved articles. And so we're working our way through them to a point where I think you said, Aaron, we have like 6 or 7 that are outstanding, to be able to work through. And of course, one of those ones is always finance, and pay. That's just a hard one, especially when you're waiting for a state budget and how things work their way out there. Safety is the one that has been mentioned, and we're doing a lot of work there. As well as a couple other, items that have come forward around onboarding of new staff, some special education considerations, and some technology considerations. As kind of newer, if you will, or extended, to a different level articles, in terms of our conversations. I think a couple of the other articles are, I think some pretty low hanging fruit that when we can get there, we'll get there. But those ones seem to be the ones that have the most, conversation and move forward at this point. So, we meet again Tuesday of next week, and I think it's Tuesday of the following week. And I have this anticipation that everybody will say, we don't want to talk to you in July. And
We don't want to see a face.
and then we'll come back around in August. I could be wrong, but that's kind of the tradition of what happens as we need to be able to do that. And you know, the hard part with a budget, when you don't know what's actually gonna be final until the end of June. And so if that's all we have left, to be able to come back around to in August, I feel real good.
Okay.
And Sandy will be picking up
Yes.
Joe's
Scheduling
spot.
Will the August board meeting then be in the normal second Thursday?
I believe
You
so,
guys
August
decide.
4th.
That, you guys will decide
It
that in
was just on
July.
the agenda, I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Word up. Okay, I wasn't sure. Sorry.
I think we're keeping it the same, but if we need to change it, we can change it at that July 7th meeting. But right now, as it stands, it's scheduled for August 14th at 7 PM, possibly 6 if we have executive session.
Yeah, but we'll,
Thank you for asking.
good, we'll round that out
In July.
in July. Yep,
Okay,
perfect.
discussion action items, inter-district transfer allowances.
Yeah, we want to open up more spots at the Philomath Academy, in grades 6 through 8, at 5 spots per grade level. Garth has put, and his team have put together a schedule that has primarily high school students in the mornings and, looking to have middle schoolers in the afternoons with more on-site, activity. We're moving student services, the student services office over here to the computer lab in the library. Over the summer. And then where student services lives right now in the district office will become a piece of a meeting room. And we hope, and the rest of it will be other classrooms for the academy. Or they're looking at really trying to start separating out. Instead of having 30 students in the same room, it might be that I'm one of the 15 here or the 10 here. And we can move back and forth. So that there's actually some better opportunity to be able to have students come in and to be able to get some things done, in more of a face-to-face way, so. So if we can approve that request for them, I would appreciate that.
I so moved.
Okay, been moved
I'll second.
and seconded. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Second reading policy. The page here, IKFA, the early graduation.
Oh, the ad. We used to have this years ago. And for whatever reason, it was taken out. And I think one of the reasons that it was taken out was, it talked about board approval, which it doesn't require board approval. At this stage of the game, but it was, a way of being able to get something back on the books. To be able to take a look at, for students who want to, graduate early. The other piece of the puzzle, do we have the AR in that?
No.
Oh, it's on the back side.
Okay, okay.
There's
I
the.
don't have it on my computer.
There's on the back,
Okay.
back side. All right.
Can you clarify, if you say it doesn't require board approval? We did used to approve.
We did used to, and what I've
Okay,
done
so
is,
it doesn't-
it doesn't say that we can't, but,
Policy didn't call for it.
it does, yes, thank you.
Okay.
And, I've been looking through to see, and we can do whatever we want with it, but yeah. And so the policy itself is just very simple. A student who wishes to graduate from high school in less time than the ordinary grade 9 through 12 sequence may request permission to complete graduation requirements on an altered schedule. The student and her parents will consult with high school guidance personnel to develop a graduation plan. Their intention to accomplish this plan will be stated in writing to the superintendent. A student may satisfy graduation requirements in less than 4 years. The district will award a diploma to a student fulfilling graduation requirements in less than 4 years upon the student's request, and if the student's parent or guardian consents, if required, because of the age of 18. The AR really starts to get into the other pieces that were in the earlier policy of you need to have a GPA, be in good standing and have a GPA of at least 2.5 in core content. And you need to come up with a process of what your plan is to be able to graduate early. The desire was to look at timelines, and so the AR takes a look at, if I want to graduate a complete year early, then I need to let my school administration know the May of my sophomore year, because I will plan to finish in my junior year. And so that gives us the opportunity to craft a plan. If I want to finish somewhere in the middle of what would have been my senior year, then I need to know by May of my junior year. That was just a shot at some ways of being able to give us some information about students who we might have on the docket who want to graduate early. So, I mean, I don't expect any vote on this. It was just kind of a late, we were talking about it in terms of the conversations about handbooks and graduation and things like that. And so wanted to try and at least get something out that has a little bit of.
Do you have an extra copy that I can give?
Oh.
I just,
Just the
sure.
Oh, Tom just, yeah.
I have a question, as far as what the current procedure is, so obviously this policy isn't in place, but is there a requirement around the dates? That these
No.
letters need to be submitted, there's. Okay.
No, at this point, it's if a student wants to end early, they end early. And it might be a surprise, it might not be, and the question is, do they remain enrolled? I mean, it's the whole. It's kind of hit and miss right now. And so the idea of being able to take a look at a process and tightening it back up again may have some merit and heft. We're looking at if a student wants to finish early, because we know we have a lot of students who can finish their credits early. What do we need to do to be able to craft opportunities that are meaningful to some of those students? So if I'm given a choice to say, do I want to take class A or do I want to be off campus for a class period? I think there's probably a few people that would say, I'd really like to be off campus for a period. And so how can we continue to encourage active participation in education opportunities when we can? When do we need to take a look at enrichment or any LVCC possibilities or some things like that that, our valedictorian from the Philomath Academy last night, we mentioned, had 77 credits completed by the time of graduation to be able to add towards a college degree. So are there some things that we can do to be able to encourage a continued commitment? And it's kind of like, if we know, can we better help? So, yeah.
I would never want to discourage a student from doing whatever they think or their family thinks is best for their
I agree.
education.
I agree.
But I would also highly recommend that the student stay in school for the 4 years, if at all possible, which means giving them extra opportunities, alternate opportunities, whatever, because I think they may not realize at the time that they may miss the social aspect, the activities aspects of being in school. And from a strictly selfish standpoint, we will lose that student's state school money, the ATM, if they leave early.
Right.
So I think, but ultimately it's about students, not, but I've seen, when I taught here at the high school for 30 years and had very few students come through that graduated early.
There's not a lot.
And the few that did, it was appropriate. They
Yeah.
were just ready to be gone.
And we're gonna find some of
You know,
those that.
So, did not have a problem.
Yeah.
Our question on this, I'm looking at the eligibility, you have to have a 2.5 GPA in the core credits. I could be out of high school growing up, and stayed last year for 1 PE credit. And I wasn't optional to leave early, so. So we have core credit class here, but there's a certain required amount of class they should take.
Right, and that's part of the plan that gets created of how are you going to meet the state and district requirements? So how are you going to propose that you get that PE credit?
Okay.
Um,
Cause this,
In
the way this is
whatever way.
worded, it says you have to do these core credits, but there's.
you have to have a GPA.
APA.
We can't, we don't wanna look at a GPA of, all electives, and that's all I've ever done. And I don't have any of the core academics. How successful am I gonna be at trying to graduate early? And so, it's kind of that difference in looking at the GPA, but it's also about, you have the opportunity to say, I'm gonna take class A at LVCC, or I'm gonna propose this for my PE credit, or, that's where the planning comes into place to be able to make sure that all those things are met.
And just the way my simple mind reads this, and if I'm a student, going, all I gotta do is pass these classes over by
Mhm.
anything else, so the way I read this,
Okay.
it's like.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it's reading,
Okay.
I'm reading, going, all we have to do is pass these classes,
think
over by
that-
anything else.
Yeah, the eligibility also needs to be clear that you have to meet the requirements to graduate.
Yep,
Which
happy to do that.
aren't listed
Yep.
there. I also, on the AR, I think it would be very important to make an allowance through this process for special exceptions. We know students experience catastrophic change.
Yep.
On occasion, and I would hate to see someone not be able to graduate early in response to something like that if they've met all of these eligibilities, but they submitted their paperwork on September 1st.
I would agree. I think that we've got a lot of latitude in that way, in knowing that we're gonna have those one-offs, absolutely. And if we need to, state that in some way. But I hope that we never get rid of the exceptions to the rule.
Sure.
In what we'll do, but yeah,
Okay,
so it was just to start the conversation.
yeah.
And we
So
can
we're
go
not
back.
trying to approve that one tonight.
No,
No,
No.
just thought that. Having had 2 students graduate early. I can kind of speak to that end of it. But, they also, as well as having the academics. They need to have the maturity level, I feel, to be able
Thought
to
about
leave
that.
high school and succeed in the real world.
Yep.
Because there's some of them that are extremely book smart. But may not have all the skills they need to succeed in the real world.
I agree.
So I mean, that needs to be taken into consideration at the same time, whether it's through the counselors or whoever.
I would agree.
But yeah, we learned that, not that we had a problem with it, but we learned that through the process when we were trying to get two kids to be able to graduate early, because they, at that time, they did have a policy. And you had to go through these things and you had to get parent approval and everything, and they had to be up at a certain GPA level. But they also had to have the wherewithal to survive if they left school a year early. So I just wanna make sure we don't miss that part of it.
I would like to bring this back to the policy committee for just a little bit of fine
I agree.
tuning and tweaking.
The other thing I just thought of is what are the implications for students at 16 who get a GED?
Yes,
What are the implications, but,
Oh, a student who at 16 chooses to get a GED.
yeah.
which is.
I didn't even think about that in the context of,
So. Okay,
good thoughts, thank you.
let's go back to policy committee. JECA. Which is,
Did you read it? I scanned it this morning, you saw, sure.
admission of resident students.
And I don't have that sitting in front of me, so.
The Chromebook won't show it to you anyway, it's fine.
It's in the packets.
Yeah.
Rick, would you prefer to, I guess we'll just take them each on their own.
Well, yeah, cause there's only three, well,
Yeah.
we already had one.
Two
and
plus an
There's
AR.
this one and one more with the AR, so,
All of them.
and technically the board doesn't have to approve the ARs anyhow. They
Right.
just have to approve the policy, and then it's up to the superintendent and her plan to do the ARs, so. So is there any questions on the JECA, the admission of a resident student?
Mostly it was cleaning up language,
Yeah,
so.
well, that's what I've noticed, is
Yeah,
just
so.
some language things.
Jip, anything, Aaron, yeah, I don't remember anything that wasn't, it was just a matter of getting
Yeah.
some stuff clarified.
Language cleanup.
Well, I will move that we accept, policy JECA as amended.
Okay, is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, I've just seen one right here, number 9.
Okay.
Second line. It's talking about. Provide alternative programs of instruction to students who, and should that be have become
Yeah.
a resident student?
Yep.
Instead of has?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just a grammatical,
did you get that, Michelle?
Mhm.
Okay, thank
So-
you.
okay, been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Rick, can I
Oh, yeah,
ask
sorry, Tom.
for A and B? The, it seems like both of those should be has not yet received. Reading that wrong?
I don't have that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cause it says they have, you know, has received a modified diploma, which has not received a modified diploma.
You may read the whole thing.
Extended diploma or certificate of attendance.
Yeah, Joe, would you mind reading that?
The
whole-
board,
Okay.
this is number 4, the board shall admit an otherwise eligible student who has not yet attained age 21 prior to the beginning of the current school year. If the student is receiving special education services and has not yet received a regular high school diploma or has received a modified diploma, an extended diploma, or a certificate of attendance.
And that is correct.
Yeah, because that's,
Okay.
yeah,
Those are correct. If I have a modified, extended, or a certificate of
still can go
attendance,
back and.
I can still come
You
back.
can still come back to your age 21.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Good catch.
Good question.
Good question.
Okay, any more questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Next one is GCBDC/GDBDC. I feel like I'm gonna.
Letters out.
Yeah.
Feels like a quiz.
Thing here, you know, trying to test my.
It means
What I
two different
see.
sections.
Got it
Safe
right.
leave policy, safe leave policy, page 38 in the board packet.
This is a new policy that was this required or highly recommended from the state? I can't
I believe
remember.
it was highly
I think
recommended.
it was. Yeah, so. Our. In here as proposed. I don't think we made any changes, did we? I think we just accepted that.
No, I think we took it as it was.
Yeah.
Well, the title that's on it is domestic violence, harassment, sexual assault, bias, or stalking leave, and then in parentheses, safe leave.
Yes.
And I didn't see anything that jumped out at me, but. And this comes from OSBA? Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. So, we'll hear
I move that we approve GCBDC, GDBDC safe leave policy as presented in our packet.
Approve or adopt? The word adopted it.
Adopt the policy,
yeah,
approve the changes. Well, I guess there aren't
well, there's
changes.
no changes.
Adopt the new policy.
Adopt the new policy, yeah,
I'll second that.
okay. Been moved and seconded, all those in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
We don't need to vote on
We
the
don't
AR.
need to vote on the ARs.
Are there any questions about the AR or we could? Yeah.
The form for which you agree.
Yes, it was just,
Are we gonna accept, do we, no, we'll put the AR in even though we're not technically. We'll put our. Adopting it.
yeah, the AR will go in, it doesn't have to be adopted by the board.
Right.
All right.
So just take certified. Resolution 2425-07,
I so move.
okay,
It's a resolution transferring appropriations within fund for fiscal year 2024-2025. Jennifer. Alder.
Also, I can just.
and it
Yes,
just, you said, moved and seconded, okay, and then all it does is take $150,000 out of instruction services and puts it in, or, yeah, from instruction services to the general fund. Correct?
Within the general fund, instruction services to support services,
Yes.
That moves it to support.
Oh, support service, yeah, there you go.
just between functions.
Okay, I just didn't read all of it. I did earlier, but then. Okay. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Now we're on the meeting closure, next meeting agenda items.
We've got a couple of people to swear in.
Yep.
Swear at them.
Maybe a little bit.
There, the back to school barbecue, you've been kind of getting the donations of the stuff, so we need to figure out. You out of that, if you're going to come and help. Are your interest in being involved in doing that or just showing up on that day?
Just showing up on that day.
Okay.
We gotta
Okay,
take the
that
work
sounds
off, but
good.
Rick, he's retired.
And you have your letter. That you.
Yeah, somewhere, yeah.
Oh, if you could, I probably do have a copy of that in my email,
Oh, I
but if
think
you
it's
could forward it.
it's probably on my computer, so.
But you'll lose that
I'll look at it.
July 1st.
No, it's on.
Oh, gotcha.
That's my letter. It's not-
So yeah, but you'll get us the information of what you've done, so we don't hit the same people up again,
Yeah.
so you'll get us that.
Right.
Well, and that's what I'll just put it out this way. I've tried to hit more people for less money, but not go back to the same people year after year unless they've indicated to me that they'll donate year after year. Citizens Bank is one that said that, well, see you next year. Okay, you know, I'm not gonna turn it down, but I try to go to different businesses or whatever, wherever I go and get different donations every year. So that they don't think that they're being, probably not the right words, but picked on, you know, wanting more money all the time.
And the other way, the problem is the city has.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Yeah.
So the girls have to do the whole thing. Nobody has.
Speak to
Yeah,
Mary.
well.
I think Mary does.
Very hard.
That's
Make
what
sure
I'm,
this is
once we take charge of that.
For food.
And we go that way, so.
Rick,
But I-
are we starting with a little bit of money? Do we have
Well,
money
there was-
left
yeah,
over?
There was some carryover. wasn't
That's what I
There
thought.
should be some carryover, yeah,
Right, okay,
but I don't know exactly what it is. You have to ask the district office, cause they,
Yeah.
all the donations go into them. And
Yeah.
they keep the total of it, so.
Yeah,
uh,
and she's got a list of who's donated in the past.
Right, yes, they've got a list of who's donated, and they've also got a list of the supplies that they bought.
Yeah, that's what I just
And
told Erin.
and,
Yeah,
coordinated all that, so.
yeah.
Okay.
I guess my only question would be, you want me to check with the city to get the barbecue for that day? You know, the,
Hey, Chris.
it has to go through the, public works.
It's just so much more money for us, Christopher.
Never checking my email.
Yes. If you
I would say yes,
please. If you've got a contact there, yes.
And can
Okay,
you-
yeah, I can do
If
that.
you're emailing them, will you copy me on the email just so I have who it is? Or
You
you
think I'm
calling?
smart enough to do
You're
that?
calling them?
It's just the main number.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll get that squared away. so.
thank you so much.
Okay,
I'll
We
also
need to make a
say,
note that fraud.
what's that?
well, I'll just say too, since you brought it up, we have a new website
They were
now
surprised if
for the city, and there's a general contact form.
something's
If
changed.
you don't know where something's supposed to go, you can just put the form and say, I don't know where it's supposed to go. And it'll go to City Hall, and then they'll get it to the right person. So just to say, that's an option.
I just go over to Public Works and talk.
That, which is also an option. I'm just saying, for those who may not know where to
Yeah.
go. Now we have an option for I don't know where to go.
Okay,
Yes.
Very helpful.
I love it.
I need that option.
did everything
You know?
get covered as far as the swearing in of the new board members and
Mm.
election of the officer?
Yeah, we got that.
And all that,
Signatures.
yeah,
Okay,
okay.
um,
Is there anything else? Anybody got anything else for next meeting agenda items? Okay,
Thanks.
board, thanks.
I've got some.
Huh?
I've got some. I'm sure that is shocking, as I say every month. I'm gonna start off thanking Brad for the wonderful graduation coverage. And the truly lovely article about the Philomath Academy graduation and graduates. That was
Very nice.
very heartwarming and touching, and I deeply appreciate that.
And if you're not subscribing to Philomath News, you should.
Why not? Why aren't you?
You should.
And I also want to thank all of our outgoing staff members, many of whom have been a very large part of my life for well over a decade, 15+ years for some of them. I've been known to get really mushy in the past and then have somebody come back later and then I'm like, oh, I cried about you at a board meeting. So I'm not gonna do that this year, but just know I'm crying on the inside. And also, on that same topic, my genuine, deep, heartfelt thank you to Joe and Rick for all of the service, the hours you put in. But more than the time and service, the heart that you have put in to the work on the board. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I got my sheet.
That's okay. I always like to thank the staff to our teachers and classify everybody. It takes a village. I know I say that every month, but it takes a village. And everybody has a very important part in it. And as far as our outgoing board members, Joe, it's been a pleasure to get to know you. I'm sure my kids had you
I may have made it
a
some.
little while ago.
Back in the day, I'm sure you came in for,
Oh, I'm sure I
Conferences
did.
or whatever.
I'm sure I did, yes. And Rick,
I only had thousands of students.
yeah, I know, I thought you'd remember mine, but no. Rick,
Yeah.
my friend, thank you.
Yeah.
You have been so supportive and such a mentor for me through this process. It's actually your fault I'm here, but that's okay. No, I know you've put your heart and soul into this, being on the school board and, you know, generations have gone through with you here, and I want to thank you for all of your dedication. It wouldn't be what it is without you,
Thank you.
so thank you very much, and we're not gonna lose touch.
No, we still have 4-H
Yeah, we still have four
grandkids.
grandkids, and we're kind of sort of neighbors, all the things.
I'll echo that. Thank you too for. And I'm sure I know I see Rick all the time. I'm sure I'll run into Joe.
I'll be around.
And especially here in a couple months, we'll see you again at the barbecue.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And probably a year from that one.
Could be.
After that rain, I really.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, Rick might be moving
I
closer.
can hear it now, the Daily Wells annual barbecue.
Daily Wells, I love it.
Joey, you got anything?
Oh, I absolutely. I would like to thank all the staff, teachers, staff, administrators, school bus drivers, crossing guards, you name
Oh,
it.
yeah.
There's so many people that are required to make this district run and run well, and it does run well. We're just, you know, we're necessary, but we're not that important, really. It's, you know, it's the people that boots on the ground that are doing the education that are really what make this run. Thank the other board members. It's been a pleasure, and I will miss it and I won't miss it. It just depends. Yeah, I mean, I've been in Philomath since 1985, so I've been doing this for 40 years in one way or another, and it is in my soul. I will continue to be in one way or another in touch, involved, whatever. So.
Will we see you at the time clock again? For games?
Oh, possibly, because if I'm not on the board, I can be paid by the district again. So.
Oh. We need to talk, don't we?
I did basketball timing for 27 years.
Yeah, I knew you did for a
I
long
did
time.
football clock for 15 years. I don't know. I did a few years of track, but basketball is my favorite.
There's two people in this room that often get forgotten about when you do things, and those two ladies over there that
Yeah.
are like the foundation of what's happening.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You guys are awesome.
What do you got for us?
Got a whole list.
Uh-oh.
We took notes.
Uh-oh.
I gotta agree with Aaron and Sandy on everything that they said. All the staff, it does take a village. But I want to thank not just the current staff, but staff that's been here in my tenure on the board that goes back to 2003. Those people have been just as wonderful as the current staff. I learned a lot from them. I've learned a lot from a lot of different people, and this is tough. Past board members that I've worked with, had the pleasure to work with. Tom is one of them that's coming back. Wish you the best.
Gratefully every day.
And then the superintendents that I've worked with, started with Rod Harvey. Some people may not realize that Rod was superintendent, but
Interim for.
he was interim for a year when I got elected to the board. Pete Tawana, Dan Forbes, Melissa Goff, and then Susan. And they all had their, what I would call their specialties in the time that we were in. Cause Pete came in at a very difficult time. Dan came in when we were going through a bond process, and he had a construction background that fit just perfect for that. Melissa's helped us through some stuff. Susan's been wonderful. Learned a lot from her. Michelle and Jennifer. Can't thank you guys enough for everything that you do that's helped me be a better board member and you know, help me remember things and send me emails and notes and stuff that, hey, you need to take care of this, so. It's all wonderful. And then the spring sports was very successful this year. With the track, baseball and everything. And then the graduation ceremonies, I thought were fantastic. Both the high school and the academy. A lot of people had everything to do with that and just a wonderful time there. That's probably the best part of being a board member, is being able to see those kids walk across the stage and get to hand them their diplomas. You know, of all the things I did as a board member, when I started out, it was just the board chair that did it. We got the privilege of going there and going, it's just gonna be over. And then we got a board chair that thought that the whole board should be involved. And that really changed things and put a whole new meaning into the graduation process. So we all got to hand out diplomas, so anyhow, that's, and I know I'm forgetting some stuff, that's why I had to write it down, but I'm missing one superintendent, Buzz, that was here, but he was here at the time that I took a couple of years off, so I never really got to work with him. We hired him. I was on the board when he got hired, but when he got sworn in, I was leaving, so, that's the reason that he's not on the list. So if somebody was wondering. So anyhow, other than that, you know, like Aaron said, the outgoing personnel, wonderful people. Everybody in this district, you know, right from the bus drivers all the way through, custodians, teachers, you know, instructional assistants, everybody, just wonderful people. And I don't think you could have better people to work in this district. So I'll just leave it at that. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any board requests?
This time.
Okay. I guess we are adjourned.
All right.
That's your last county.
I'm taking this one.
You should take that one. I think you've earned it.
We get our name cards?
Yeah.
You should.
Take the.
You can't
Insert out.
We're using- you can't read.
No,
I
that's
have
yours.
one in my pickup.
That's yours.
It's underneath the driver's seat.
Underneath.
I know where it's at, but I'm not gonna.